The council chamber of the galactic concordat floated in the void between star systems, a massive structure of crystalline spires and quantum-locked corridors where 1,000 species had gathered to decide the fate of one. Maya stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes reflecting the cold light of distant stars, watching as the warships of 70 civilizations positioned themselves around Earth's solar system. "They're really going to do it," she whispered, her breath fogging the viewport. William stepped beside her, his military uniform crisp despite the 3 sleepless days they'd endured. The vote was unanimous. Every species except us voted for subjugation. Maya turned to face him, her expression a mixture of anger and disbelief. 200 years, William. 200 years we've been part of this concordat. We've shared our medicine, our art, our technology. And this is how they repay us. "They fear what they don't understand," William replied, his jaw tight. "And they've never understood human tenacity." The ultimatum had been clear. Submit to concordat oversight, allow genetic modification to reduce human aggression, accept population controls, and surrender all military capabilities. The alternative was annihilation. Humanity had 48 hours to decide. Earth had chosen neither. The Vrax delegation leader, a towering creature of chitinous armor and 4 articulated arms, had presented the case against humanity with clinical precision. Humans bred too quickly. Humans adapted too rapidly. Humans showed disturbing signs of what the concordat termed evolutionary instability, the ability to thrive in environments that should kill them, to innovate solutions that violated established scientific paradigms, to refuse extinction when any rational species would accept defeat. "They are a cancer," the Vrax had declared to thunderous approval. "Better to excise them now, while they are still contained to one system, than to face them when they spread." Maya had stood before that assembly of alien minds and made humanity's case. She had shown them Earth's contributions to galactic medicine, the human art that had moved even the emotionless Kaldrith to tears, the philosophical treatises that had revolutionized concordat ethics committees. She had begged them to see humanity's potential for cooperation, not just competition. The vote had remained unchanged, 1,247 to 1. "Status report," William commanded as they entered the war room buried 3 kilometers beneath the lunar surface. Colonel Sarah Chen looked up from her holographic display, her face grave. "All 70 fleets are in position. Combined force of approximately 40,000 warships. Energy signatures consistent with planet crackers, atmospheric incinerators, and quantum disruptors. They're not here to occupy, sir. They're here to erase us." "Our assets?" William asked. "Every ship we have, every defense platform, every weapon humanity has ever developed, including the ones we swore we'd never use." Chen's voice dropped to a whisper. "It won't be enough, not against those numbers." Maya moved to the central display, studying the disposition of enemy forces. The concordat had brought overwhelming power, the accumulated military might of civilizations that had conquered their home systems millennia before humanity had discovered fire. They had weapons that could ignite atmospheres, technology that could shatter planets, and shields that had never been breached. "They've made a mistake," Maya said softly. William looked at her sharply. "What mistake?" "They think this is about military strength." She touched the display, and it shifted to show Earth, beautiful, blue, defiant. "They've never fought a species that fights for more than territory or resources. They've never faced an enemy that fights because they refuse to kneel." "Inspiring words won't stop planet crackers," Chen observed. "No," Maya agreed, "but human ingenuity might." The first phase of the battle lasted 6 hours. The concordat fleets advanced in perfect formation, their tactics refined over 100,000 years of warfare. They expected resistance. Humanity's navy was small but well regarded, but they expected capitulation once the true scale of the mismatch became apparent. Humanity's ships met them at the orbit of Neptune. The human vessels were outnumbered 400 to 1. They lasted exactly as long as projections suggested, 17 minutes. Every human ship was destroyed, their debris adding to the cosmic dust of the outer solar system. The Concordat fleets advanced, confident in their inevitable victory. They never reached Uranus. The mines had been there for weeks, invisible to every scanning technology the Concordat possessed. Not because they were shielded. Humanity didn't have shielding that advanced. They were invisible because they were simple, chunks of ice and rock, indistinguishable from the billions of natural objects in the outer solar system, each one containing a human innovation the Concordat had dismissed as primitive. Nuclear weapons. Thousands of them. The explosions created a debris field that shredded the first wave of Concordat ships. Those that survived found themselves bombarded by follow-up attacks. Railgun projectiles accelerated to relativistic speeds, chemical rockets, even ballistic missiles that the Concordat hadn't seen used in warfare for 50,000 years. Primitive weapons, the Vrax commander had sneered. This only delays the inevitable. But the delays added up. By the time the Concordat fleets reached Jupiter, they'd lost 8,000 ships, not to superior technology, but to traps, tricks, and tactics that offended their sensibilities. Humanity fought without honor, without rules, without the civilized constraints that governed Concordat warfare. Humanity fought to win. The battle for Jupiter's moons lasted 3 days. The Concordat had expected to sweep aside the small human garrison there. Instead, they found themselves in a grinding guerrilla war where humans used the moon's caverns, the radiation belts, and their own bodies as weapons. When the Concordat finally claimed the Jovian system, they'd lost another 12,000 ships and couldn't explain how. "They're just humans," the Vrax commander raged. "Primitive, short-lived, irrational creatures. How are they doing this?" The answer sat in the war room beneath Luna, where Maya coordinated the defense with a calm that belied the chaos around her. "Mars is ready," she reported to William. "Once they're committed to the assault, we execute Protocol Samson." William nodded grimly. "Earth. Evacuations are 60% complete. We'll save who we can. And if this doesn't work..." Maya met his eyes. "Then we'll die as we lived, free." The Concordat's final assault on Mars was everything their doctrine promised: overwhelming firepower, perfect coordination, and absolute certainty of victory. They bombarded the planet from orbit, cracking the terraformed surface, boiling the artificial seas, and preparing to land occupation forces. They never noticed the modifications humanity had made to Mars's core. The planet exploded. Not from Concordat weapons, but from human engineering, a chain reaction in the artificial fusion reactors buried in Mars's mantle, amplified by every nuclear device humanity could transport there, designed for one purpose: to take the enemy with them. The explosion consumed 19,000 Concordat ships in an instant. The shockwave damaged or destroyed another 8,000. The surviving fleet, now reduced to less than 5,000 ships, suddenly faced a choice: advance toward an enemy that had just demonstrated it would rather destroy its own worlds than surrender, or retreat and explain to the Concordat how they'd lost 90% of their forces to a species they'd called primitive. They chose retreat. Maya found William on the same observation deck where they'd watched the invasion fleet arrive. Now, they watched it depart, limping back toward Concordat space with less than 10% of its original strength. "We won," William said, but there was no triumph in his voice. "We survived," Maya corrected. "We lost Mars. We lost millions of people. We lost ships and stations we'll need decades to replace. But we're still here, still human, still free." Maya leaned against him, exhausted. "They'll come back, with more ships, better tactics." "Let them," William replied. "We'll be ready. Humanity always is." In the ruins of the Concordat Council Chamber, now evacuated and silent, a message from Earth played on repeat, broadcast on every frequency, in every language the Concordat knew. You demanded war from humanity, we gave you war. You believed us weak because we valued peace. You mistook our restraint for inability. You forgot the lesson every predator learns: the prey that survives is the prey that fights back. We did not want this war, but we will finish it. Every time you come, we will be waiting. Every time you attack, we will adapt. We are humanity. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. And we never ever forget. Come again if you must. The galaxy will regret it. The broadcast ended with coordinates, not of Earth, but of the debris field where Mars had been, a monument to what humanity would sacrifice to remain free. The Concordat never returned.